The war in Ukraine continues with intense military operations across multiple fronts. Recent reports from May 2025 indicate a significant Russian military buildup. Russia has reportedly massed approximately 50,000 troops near Ukraine's Sumy region. This concentration of forces has enabled Russian units to push into this northern area. As a result, Russian troops have managed to capture several villages. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has acknowledged this buildup. He also confirmed that Ukraine is taking preventive measures to counter these new Russian offensives. The situation remains dynamic and highly dangerous for civilians in the affected regions. The scale of these troop movements suggests a concerted effort by Russia to exert further pressure. Russian forces have also achieved notable advances in other key sectors. Progress has been documented near the towns of Vovchansk, Kupiansk, and Pokrovsk. These areas have been sites of fierce fighting for many months. The Russian military appears to be systematically trying to secure strategic positions. However, Ukrainian forces are not merely defending. They have recently launched counterattacks and made some advances near Chasiv Yar. This particular area is critical, and any Ukrainian gains here could disrupt Russian logistical lines. The back-and-forth nature of these engagements underscores the brutal reality of trench warfare mixed with modern technology. Both sides are expending considerable resources. The broader picture shows Russian forces continuing to advance along the entire front line in Ukraine. This steady, albeit sometimes slow progression, highlights the immense pressure Ukraine is under. While some Russian offensive operations, particularly in the Kursk and Sumy oblasts, have been described as limited and without significant breakthroughs, the overall trend is concerning. Russian military efforts also persist in several other directions. These include the Borova, Lyman, Siversk, Toretsk, Novopavlivka, Kurakov, and Velika Novosilka directions. In the Zaporizhia direction and near Kherson city, operations continue without major confirmed progress for Russia. But the pressure is constant. The intensity of aerial combat extends beyond just reconnaissance drones. Both Russia and Ukraine are heavily utilizing attack drones and missiles. Ukraine reported that Russia launched 88 drones and 5 ballistic missiles in one recent barrage, targeting various locations. In another significant engagement spanning May 26 and 27, 2025, Russia deployed a swarm of 60 Shahid drones and decoy drones. These were spread across multiple Ukrainian regions. This particular attack resulted in injuries to at least 10 people. Ukrainian air defense forces managed to down 35 of these drones. An additional 8 drones were reportedly lost or suppressed by Ukrainian electronic warfare systems, showcasing a multi-layered defense strategy. The impact of these aerial attacks on civilian infrastructure is severe and widespread. For instance, 3 Russian airstrikes in the city of Kramatorsk recently left over 850 residents without electricity. This is not an isolated incident. Ukraine's Ministry of Energy has reported a staggering number of disruptions to the nation's energy network. Since March 25, 2025 alone, there have been over 1,200 such incidents. These attacks aim to cripple Ukraine's ability to function and demoralize its population. The systematic targeting of energy infrastructure poses a significant humanitarian challenge, especially as the conflict drags on. Repairing this damage is a constant and costly endeavor for Ukraine. Amidst this escalating conflict, diplomatic channels remain open, though deeply strained, particularly between the United States and Russia. Former U.S. President Donald Trump recently issued a warning to Russian President Vladimir Putin, stating he was playing with fire. The Kremlin's response was measured. They suggested Trump might not be fully informed about the complexities of the situation. However, they also acknowledged his stated efforts towards peace and potential mediation. Trump has also made claims about protecting Russia from more severe consequences, which drew a cryptic response from Russian security official Dmitry Medvedev, who implied that a really bad thing could equate to World War III. Discussions about a potential peace accord have reportedly taken place. Putin and Trump allegedly discussed a memorandum for a peace agreement, which included a timeline for a ceasefire. U.S. Special Envoy for Ukraine Keith Kellogg indicated that the U.S. is awaiting Russia's version of a peace treaty. He also mentioned that they are waiting for a response to some guidelines Trump had provided to Putin approximately a week prior. However, neither Russia nor Ukraine has set concrete deadlines for the next steps in any peace process. This lack of firm commitment suggests the war is likely to be prolonged. Russian officials, including Vladimir Medinsky and Sergei Lavrov, maintain that peace depends on addressing the war's root causes, which fundamentally include demands for Ukrainian capitulation. The Zaporizhia nuclear power plant remains a critical point of contention and concern. Russia appears to be actively setting conditions to establish permanent control over this facility, the largest nuclear power plant in Europe. Recent satellite imagery, supported by reports from Greenpeace, reveals significant infrastructure development by Russia. Between early February and May 23, 2025, Russia has laid approximately 90 kilometers of new electricity lines. These lines are located in occupied southeastern Ukraine, specifically in the Donetsk and Zaporizhia oblasts near the Sea of Azov. Crucially, these new power lines connect directly to the ZNPP, integrating it further into Russia's energy grid. Russia's intentions regarding the ZNPP seem to extend beyond mere occupation. Alexei Likachev, the head of Rosatom, Russia's state nuclear energy corporation, made a revealing statement on May 21. He claimed that Rosatom plans to bring the ZNPP to full capacity. This statement strongly indicates an intention to restart the plant's reactors, which have been largely offline for safety reasons since the Russian occupation began. This move is fraught with risk. Furthermore, a reported peace proposal from April 2025, attributed to US President Trump, which included Ukraine regaining control over the ZNPP, has apparently been rejected by Russian officials, signaling their resolve to maintain control. International support for Ukraine continues, with several nations providing significant military and financial aid. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz recently announced a significant development: the joint production of long-range missiles with Ukraine. This move aims to bolster Ukraine's deep strike capabilities. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov criticized Merz for what he termed pretentiousness, especially after Merz stated that France, Germany, the UK and the US had lifted range restrictions on weapons supplied to Ukraine. Russia predictably deemed the joint German-Ukrainian missile production irresponsible, viewing it as an escalation. These developments highlight the complex dynamics of military aid and international relations. Sweden has also stepped up its support. On May 26, Sweden's Ministry of Defense announced a substantial aid package worth 4.8 billion Swedish kroner, approximately $499 million. This package is designed to support Ukraine's defense capabilities comprehensively. It includes funding for the Ukraine Defense Contact Group, procurement of essential military equipment, strengthening air defense systems, and acquiring long-range drones. Meanwhile, the European Union is also enhancing its defense cooperation. On May 27, the EU Council approved the first phase of the European Commission's Rearm Europe Readiness 2030 plan. This includes the Security Action for Europe financial instrument, potentially providing up to 150 billion euros for defense procurement, with Ukraine eligible to join these efforts. Within Russia, President Putin is actively pursuing efforts to militarize Russian society. He aims to unite the populace against what he portrays as a hostile West. During a meeting on May 27 with the Supervisory Board of the Russia Land of Opportunities non-profit organization, Putin emphasized traditional values. He spoke of internal mobilization and highlighted the Year of the Defender of the Fatherland. A key part of this strategy involves integrating Russian service members, particularly those who have fought in Ukraine, into societal and political roles. This approach seeks to normalize the war and solidify domestic support for the ongoing conflict, framing it as an existential struggle. Belarus, Russia's close ally, continues to be involved in the broader military context. Russia is diligently integrating lessons learned from its operations in Ukraine into joint military training exercises with Belarusian forces. A particular focus is being placed on drone warfare and advanced tactical shooting techniques. This collaboration ensures that Belarusian forces are kept abreast of modern combat realities as perceived by Moscow. While Belarus has not directly committed its troops to the fighting in Ukraine, its territory has been used by Russia, and these joint exercises signal ongoing military alignment and preparedness, which causes concern for Ukraine and its NATO neighbors. Ukraine, facing immense pressure on its energy sector, is actively seeking alternative energy solutions. The Ukrainian energy regulator recently announced a new gas import mechanism. This mechanism aims to utilize the Trans-Balkan pipeline, sourcing gas from Greece. The primary goal is to avoid the high transit fees associated with traditional routes and, crucially, to bypass Russian gas supplies. Ukrainian Minister of Energy, German Galushchenko, expressed optimism about this initiative. He hopes that all participating countries will recognize and agree on the strategic importance of this alternative route, thereby enhancing Ukraine's energy security and reducing its dependence on Russia. The conflict, which escalated dramatically in February 2022, has now endured for over 3 years, with today being May 28, 2025. Russia currently controls nearly 1/5 of Ukrainian territory, a stark reminder of the war's devastating impact on Ukraine's sovereignty. The war has resulted in significant casualties on both sides, though precise figures are difficult to verify. Furthermore, it has led to substantial military spending for both Russia and Ukraine, draining their economies and diverting resources from other critical areas. The conflict shows no signs of abating, underscoring its tragic and enduring nature, with profound consequences for global stability.